I'd like to welcome you back to the Book of Revelation Bible Study. We're now into the fourth seal. The fourth seal is a little longer than the other ones, but this is where the reign of the Antichrist starts to wane. This is towards the end of his reign, so we're going to get into it here and see how far we can go. We may have to do this in more than one video, but let's go. It says, "And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, 'Come and see.' And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth." So we're going to talk about this now. This is a pale horse. This is towards the end of his reign. He's about to basically die out. But he's just like most dictators. On their way out, they try to take as many people with them as they possibly can. So it says here, it says that in this time he's going to kill with sword. He's going to use hunger because he's already been controlling the world markets. So he can basically cut off the food to whoever he wants to. He says, and with death and with the beast of the earth. He is going to have all these things that are all earthly that he's going to use against the people, because he knows his time is short. You know, the Bible tells us that if it weren't for those days being shortened, it would be impossible for any of us to survive. But we know that his reign is about 42 months, and now this is towards the end of his reign. Now this was the heavenly vision. Now we're going to see what that translates into the earthly manifestation of it. 14:8, chapters 14, verse 8 says, "And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." Finally now this system of Antichrist has a name that we can attach to it. It is Babylon. And in the next verses and all, it's going to explain to us what it kind of looked like, and then it's also going to give us the judgments of Babylon. So we go on, it says in 17:1, it says, "And there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication." Okay, let's stop there just a minute. Go back and give you what it says, "With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication." We're going to talk about fornication here for just a minute. Some people, they don't seem to grasp exactly what that is. Fornication is not just a sexual deal. Fornication is going through the acts and through the motions of anything you do without true commitment towards them. In a marriage, you have commitment one to another. But even through all of this, that people are going to go through the acts and through the process with it because they think it's for their own gain. They think they're going to benefit from it. But they don't really believe in the system. They just want to be able to prosper themselves. So it says, it uses the terminology, "The kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication." How many times have we had to do something in our life, not because we believed in doing it, but because by doing it, it made other parts of our life better? And this is what people thought. Okay? Go ahead. It says, "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman set upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns." Now we had talked earlier on that the book of Revelation was going to tell us later on what the 7 heads and the 10 horns and all these different things meant. Well, here it is about to explain it to us. Let's go on. It says, "And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication." Man will prosper, it seems like, in this earth many times in things that they do, and they do a lot of things not because it's the right thing to do, but it's because they gain, physical things with it. Well, this system will be the ultimate in doing that. Okay, and so it goes on. And it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. When all of this Antichrist goes into effect, it is going to be the worst thing this earth has ever seen. Jesus himself even told us that in those days, that what these things are going to happen will never happen again after that. But it'll be the worst that it ever was. It says in 17:6, it says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Okay, here again, this system that's reigning for 42 months, it says right there, it says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints. She's drunken with her own power. She is, because she has killed so many, she has ruled so many through force, through every method you can think of, and so she has become drunken with this power. But John said, and I looked, and when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. That doesn't mean that he admired what she'd done. What it was it astounded him so much that she was able to do so much. He had admired the fact that something this heinous could happen. And yet God let it happen. But we're going to find out how everything that happened, God had it happen because it served his purpose. Let's go on. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. Whenever you see a magician do a trick, you marvel at the things that they do. But when you find out how the trick was done, it's not always, it becomes not so marvelous anymore. And this is what the angel was showing John, saying, look, I'm going to show you these mysteries. This way you won't marvel, you won't admire anymore, because it was all deceit to begin with. It says, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. I'm going to explain that just a little bit. I'm going to use an example of something that you may know if you're from this nation. If you're not, you may not know it. But we had a vice president back in the 50s named Richard Nixon. And he ran for president in 1960 against John Kennedy. And he lost. And everybody assumed and said that his political career and everything is over and done with. But in 1968, 8 years later, he ended up coming back and running for president. And he won that time. So here it says, and when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is, there's a lot of times where we think, oh, well, this thing's down for the count. It's over with. They could never come back out of it. And a lot of times that they do. So although things look like that they're going to be over with, doesn't mean you can count them out yet. And so that's, like I say, Richard Nixon is an example of where he was counted out, but then he came back and he ended up being even stronger than he was the first time. So you talk about the deadly wound that was healed and all. That shows where, you know, everything will not be over until God says that it is over. We're going to stop there for today because we're about to run out of time, and then we're going to pick up at this next verse, would be verse 9, the next time we get together, and then we will try to complete the 4th seal then. Thank you very much.